Good evening. You know what time it is. You know what day it is. It is Tuesday, 6 p.m. So that means it is time for Me Powered with Rhonda. And I have got an incredible show tonight. We're continuing our celebration of women for Women's History Month. I've got a phenomenal woman who is going to be our guest tonight, Alyson Pertuis. And before we get started, I want everybody to know how to tune in. So I'm going to turn it over to Lady J. Tell them how to tune into the show tonight.
If this is your first time tuning into the show or to JQLM Radio and you would like to share with your family, friends, and followers on all the different ways that they can tune in, be sure to tell them to download the JQLM Radio app on their Apple or Android devices. You can also listen live to JQLM Radio 24/7, 365 via Amazon Alexa, TuneIn app, the Stream and Simple Radio app, and a host of other platforms of which you can find located on our website, where you can also listen live at egoentertainmentnet.com. Also, don't forget to follow, like, and share us. We do follow back. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at JQLM Radio. You can also connect with Ego Entertainment Network at EgoEntNet. That's EgoEntNet on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter also. Also, connect with us on LinkedIn at Ego Entertainment Network. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our YouTube channel, Ego TV Network, at youtube.com/Ego TV Network.
All right. And you can join me and follow me as well on Facebook at my personal page, Rhonda L. Thompson, or the radio show page, Me Powered, and also Instagram at me.powered. We also got a website in the making, which is going to be mepowered.co. Make sure that you save that because we're going to have incredible things on that as well. And I also want to mention that this show has now been chosen. It is airing live on iHeartRadio along with many other podcasting forms that Lady J had said, but make sure you can go to iHeartRadio and just look up Me Powered with Rhonda and see all of the shows that we've had up to this point. So without any further ado, I want to go ahead and get started. I am truly excited this evening because this is a show that's really near and dear to my heart. I've got a friend on who is counselor as well, a therapist, and you all know that that's my field too. But this woman right here is a new friend of mine, and I want to go ahead and bring her on. Alyson, go ahead and join us, please. Welcome to the show, Alyson.
Hi, everybody. Glad to be here. Thanks, Rhonda.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. Now, tell everybody where you are live from right now.
I'm live from just north of Dallas in a little town called McKinney. And it's a great little town of about 150,000 in Texas.
All right. Yeah. And I met you through my sister because she uses you, and my sister lives in McKinney, and she's been telling me, Rhonda, you've got to meet this woman. You two have so much in common. And come to find out, we have a lot more in common than I thought, which is great. And I'll start there. Just something soft and easy. When I first saw you and we had our very first meeting, you were wearing a sweatshirt that said Liberty. And my sister thought it was Liberty High School because Liberty High School is in McKinney, but I recognized it right away. That's my school. That's my college. Liberty
Flames.
Yes. We both go. Well, you went, you're done. I'm still going to Liberty. So we're both in the same school. And who would have known that would happen like that? So from that moment, I knew. You ever had those moments where you're like, this is a God ordained thing, and you're supposed to meet this person? That's how it was when I saw you wearing that, and then we have so much more in common too. So that's how we met, and I'm so glad that you're here. And it's Women's History Month, so you're quite welcome.
History.
Yes, and you are creating history because the reason I invited you on the show is because not only, Alyson, are you creating history, but you're helping others rewrite their history, which I thought was perfect because, we get stuck in that story that we have, and we think that that's our true history. And it may be, but we've got a lot more power than we think, and we can change that. So,
Right.
so I found out
But
what
you did the right word, stuck.
yeah, exactly. So you help people get unstuck. Now tell everybody a little bit about what type of therapy you do. It's called ART, but it's not art therapy like painting. What does ART stand for? And just let everybody know a little bit about that quick.
Yeah. So ART, I was introduced to it about 4 years ago. I was doing veteran retreats as a counselor, and they offered the training. It's called Accelerated Resolution Therapy, ART for short. And it is amazing with taking the things you're stuck with, either every day or from the past, and taking some of that off or all of it, and works with the images and the stuff that's stuck and triggered in your body every time you encounter that. And it removes enough that you can be free to move forward and have a different kind of life. And it's wonderful. I've seen again and again miracles happen, small miracles, big miracles. It's really cool. So about a year ago, I said, that's all I want to do. I love it.
And it's great because when you start getting into counseling, like I'm starting to find my area of expertise, and I'm finishing up my programs as well. And I'm noticing that I'm more and more drawn to trauma. And I always tell everybody trauma is my specialty because that's where I just thrive and shine in. And so, yeah, the different modalities, they kind of pick you. You kind of gravitate towards them. And yeah,
for sure.
It's
For
really
sure.
cool.
I didn't ever think I wanted to do any kind of trauma work because it scared the heck out of me. But I stumbled into this and went, this modality, other than, well, I think it's God given. The lady who created it had some insight channeled straight from our creator, because we were meant to heal.
Yeah.
Our brains are meant to heal and align with our hearts and our spirits. And everything about this modality, this protocol, just realigns everything and heals in ways that we're not even fully understanding, but we know it works. And again and again and again, and it lasts. So, I'll talk to people after their sessions and they're like, I don't think I need to come back. So I frequently work myself out of a job with people.
Yeah, that's a good thing, because you're changing the face of what counseling looks like. And, ART therapy comes out of the eye movement therapy. It's a take off of that. But with the eye movement therapy, that takes a little bit longer, but it has a lot of the similarities, with the back and forth, stimulating the REM cycle. However, I love what you do, because when I was with that session with you the other day, oh my God, it was exactly like you said. It was an emotional roller coaster, but so much happened so quickly, and it was amazing. And you really do
end up positive.
Yeah. And then I love that when you walked me through, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, the visualizations, like when I just stopped trying to figure it out and I just sort of let them come naturally, the things that came up, I was like, oh my God, who would have ever thought that would have come up, or in that symbol or whatever. So it was so cool. I've never experienced anything like that. So thank you for that. I can't wait to talk about that a little bit more. But so what got you, let me ask you, I'm looking at your background, I got your bio, and what was it that lured you originally into counseling?
That's just like trauma. I don't know. My family has struggled with some mental health issues. My brother committed suicide when I was a teenager. I've always kind of had this depressed thing. And now I'm coming to understand that there was probably something from my trauma that made that depression happen. There's some ADHD, there's some bipolar genetically. And so we got some genetics, but I tried to go into medicine and I tried to go into teaching, and they weren't for me. So about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I don't remember. I was like, you know what, I'll take a counseling class. So, and I loved my psychology classes in college. So, even though I have ADHD, somehow I make this work as a counselor and I can listen for a little time. But there's so many counselors out there that are training in accelerated resolution. So I want everyone to be able to have access to this for sure.
Yeah, and what I love about you is you're like everybody. Let me change those words. A lot of times people get into counseling to figure out their own stuff, or it's not like you say, hey, I want to be a counselor, just kind of like morphs into you just feel comfortable. I know in high school, my favorite class was psychology class. And I remember my guidance counselor, you know, in your senior year, when you got to pick out, you got to put under your senior picture, like who the heck knows what they're going to be for the rest of their life. You got to choose your path at 17, right? So, but I like psychology, but she said, well, Rhonda, you're so good at math, you should do computers. There's no money in psychology. So I changed it because that's what my counselor said. And I got the computer degree. I hated it. And did it, and then the psychology kept calling me back. And after I had my degree, and after I had my 5 kids and went back to school for the second time, then it just felt right. It just fit. I was like, this is where I should have been all along. You know, it just, like you said, it just felt good. And that's how I knew I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, and I would never have been able to do the counseling I do without that life experience that I accrued in those years of going this way and that way. So and that's the basis of what we are able to speak from, is our experience, and that makes us relatable because people can relate to you. You know, your brother committing suicide, and I'm just reading off your bios. You struggled with depression many times. You ran towards acceptance and attention with peers. Like, who doesn't do that, right? Married your high school sweetheart. I'm not going to just read over your bio, but you had a couple of things here. What's interesting, you went through 4 combat deployments because your husband was in the Marine Corps. And he was in the Air Force when he did
Air Force. Okay, Marine Corps, then Air Force. You're right. And it says there was many periods you were a single mom for 4 to 10 months. Excuse me.
This stuff. And you know, when you're a spouse of the military, you never know if they are going to come back or not. And you do your wills before they leave, and it's really hard.
Yeah. What was that like?
There was some definite. Well, you know what? The separation wasn't as hard as you would think, but with the coming home and readjusting is always hard, and saying goodbye is always hard.
Yeah, especially if you got kids, you know. And one thing I thought was interesting, it says you moved 10 times in 23 years. And that's hard too with military, because I moved the whole time we grew up. We always moved. And that's one thing me and my sister talk about, is we don't really have a set of roots, you know, and that affects you growing up. So what was that like growing up? And I'm sure that has something to do with why you have a heart for veterans, but moving all that time, being a single mom, because there's many people that are listening to this broadcast and they're in the same boat. They're military wives or spouses or something else that their spouse is taken away. What is that like, that constant, you know, connecting, disconnecting, connecting, disconnecting when you don't have your spouse to draw on?
Well, the first couple were really hard and I felt isolated. And then at some point I just flipped a switch and said, I have to jump in as if I'm staying forever and just make some instant friends, because you have no family where you go. And there is some structure to help you do that. But when we were, after the war started, the Air Force didn't have what the Army does, where they have FRGs, which is the Family Readiness Group. So I was trying to get that kind of going for our unit in New Mexico, where we were stationed, and because we needed to support each other. And so that's part of what got me, is volunteering with other women. At that point, we had a few male spouses, and we called it the the spouse group.
Mhm.
But you just have to at some point go, I can either be lonely and isolated and do this myself, or put myself out there and, even though it's awkward, try to make some friends,
Right.
go introduce myself, take some go to
Mhm.
classes, take some volunteering stints. So I started doing that, and it just kind of became something you did.
Yeah.
Um, I
That's
just
awesome.
jumped right in when we moved, and I'm like, okay, the first thing we got to do is find a church, and then I got to get involved on base and
Right. Right. And
get the
how
kids involved, meet people.
how easy or difficult was it to make connections with women, that were in the same boat as you? Like, because when we grow up in school, it's hard because a lot of times
Yeah,
women think they compete, but with a military base, that's different. That's the one thing you have in common. Was it because I don't have that type of background, so I don't know.
yeah.
But what was that like? Like, what did you see consistent among the women with kids and stuff? Was it easy to make that connection, or did it keep you further away?
It is on base. Okay, so we live both on base and off base. And when you're on base, everyone's in the same boat.
Hmm.
But a lot of times you live off base and you're a little more isolated. So you either have to choose to get on base and get active on the base because they're all in the same boat, young families, wives that are struggling, to
Hmm.
find friends, or get active somewhere in the community with hobbies and your kids and sports teams, or church or something. You got to find your spot and meet people. The base makes it easier because you live around everybody doing the same thing.
Hmm.
But it is hard if you're off.
Okay.
You know,
Now, is that obvious? Is that where your love for veterans came from? Was because of your history in the military?
it is. It is. Watching my husband go through the difficulties, even being a resilient man, coming back, war changes you. War messes with everybody that
Mhm.
goes into it. So it's definitely, yeah, it's that's where I got the heart for that. And then I started counseling school. And of course, that was one of those populations that I was like, I can work with these guys
Oh
and
yeah,
girls. Yeah.
and that's a
And their
huge.
families,
Yeah, it's a
their
huge
families too.
population too. It's huge, and
Yeah, oh, yeah.
there's so many things, and um, a lot of times the veterans hospitals they're understaffed. They don't have the programs or the time available, and it's a shame because you would think we would have more available for our veterans and for
Yeah.
our service people than we do. And just them coming back from war. I know a lot of people that have come back, and it's just different because all the traumas that you see out there, and then you come back here and you try to fit back in, and sometimes you don't know what to do or how to act because you only know how to act on the field, and that's where you have respect, that's where you have all of that, and then you come here and it's like you're just a regular person in the population. It's a very hard adjustment, so a lot of PTSD is a lot of readjustment, and a lot of times people have a very difficult time dealing with it because yeah, I have a lot of clients and I see a lot of people that you'd be surprised how many veterans there are out there. And some of them don't even wear it as a badge because it's like they don't even want to say
No,
they're a veteran. You know what I mean? Because they're so used to being
it's sad.
pushed aside in society. So I'm so glad that you work with that population because that's definitely much needed.
Yep, I've definitely got into that, but in McKinney, Texas, I don't have as many of those folks as I did in Houston. But starting to get busy with some organizations that see first responders as well, and we always have those around us, and we need to be thankful for that them being willing to come at our darkest hours, right?
Yeah, that crisis intervention. That's one of my areas is crisis intervention, and you just presence sometimes is all that's needed, rather than trying to talk. It's just thinking enough to ask somebody, do they want a glass of water if their house is burned down? It's just being
Yeah.
there in the moment. Just your presence and acknowledging that they're hurting and stuff. So that's amazing in itself.
Thank you.
Now I
Yeah.
know
Or
This hour flies by. It's already time for our commercial break. We're already 20 minutes in. So you're doing a great job. So we're going to be right back. We're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back. We're talking to Alyson Pertuis, Me Powered with Rhonda.
Have you subscribed yet to the free bi-monthly digital interactive Ego magazine? No? Well, head on over to www.egoentertainmentnet.com to subscribe now. This magazine is all about supporting and showcasing excellence in communities everywhere, from music, arts and culture, relationships, education, politics, celebrities, food, and so much more. While you're flipping through the pages, just click on the buttons and social icons and you'll be taken to a whole other world behind the articles and ads. At Ego Entertainment, everyone is a star. There is something in it for everyone. And we hope you are positively impacted by what you see and will continue to support Ego Magazine. Track CBPD by Arulo. Did you know JQLM Radio provides media services like voiceovers, radio advertising, video flyers, and other audio and video services? Contact JQLM Radio today for your brand promotional needs at 317-886-0296 or email jqlmradio@gmail.com. JQLM Radio, real voices, raw entertainment, and relevant topics. Track What You Did by CXNST on soundcloud.com/officiallowpass. Music promoted by freestockmusic.com. If you are an entrepreneur, podcaster, radio host, cinematographer, or photographer and are in need of a space to work, the Ego Center is for you. A fully equipped radio podcast studio, photography and film studio, workstation, and small conference area are available for booking. Visit egoentertainmentnet.com to take a virtual tour, book, or join a membership program today.
All right, we are back. And I also want to take a second to acknowledge my sponsor, Robert Delitis. He is of ERPtherapy.com, and he is co-creator of Kill the Craving, an author of that book, and he is the actual creator of ERP therapy for substance abuse and addiction, and he is our platinum sponsor of this show. So if you need any help with addictions, whether it's substance abuse or addictions in general, he does corporate training and he does individual counseling as well. Get in touch with him, Robert Delitis, ERPtherapy.com. All right, so we are back speaking with Alyson, and we just kind of laid the groundwork of, the background and stuff. Now, I would like to get into what ART therapy is and what makes it different than other therapies. So, how would you? I don't like the word dumb it down. How would you explain ART therapy to the person who has never heard of it before? What would you describe it as?
Well, I usually start with saying something like, at some point about 40 years ago, with EMDR creators figured out that something was happening with REM sleep while we dream, and our eyes are just doing a really quick ziggy zag at night. If you ever watch anyone dreaming, and you can tell they're in dream state when their eyes are moving. So they tested it to see whether that would do anything while you're awake, and actually they trace back some bilateral stimulation to even ancient times with some old Sanskrit something or other. I don't know. But anyway, but that we use that bilateral stimulation, which this does have in common with EMDR, to access parts of your brain that are storing visual and other kind of memories and then unlock the body reaction, that fight or flight reaction, or freeze. I forgot freeze. A lot of people have that. And that heightened anxiety, or just that panicky feeling. And it helps to reprocess and desensitize that reaction, because we're safe at that moment. If you're out of that danger, you don't need that cue anymore.
Right.
So it helps kind of unstick the body part of those memories, but it also deals with the images and the sensations from that time. And you don't ever have to see it the same way again.
Right.
Which is the most beneficial part going forward, is the lack of the triggers, but also the images are different or gone, which blows people away, because you're like, oh, I can't unsee that. And I've stopped some people and I say, yeah, actually, you can unsee it, which our memories are so beautiful. I mean, they help us to know what is worth storing in our memories, but some things we really just, that are not useful anymore. And it even works with grief, where maybe that person's gone and you want to grieve, but you're always stuck on the negatives, whether it's guilt or an image of them dying, or something just really negative. And a lot of times the question we ask is, would that person want you to live your life remembering their worst days? And they're always like, no, they want me to remember the great times we had, or the smile on their face, not their worst day. So it really helps with grief as well, even though you obviously can't bring someone back. But all in all, if you've read the book, The Body Keeps Score.
Yeah, I have it right here.
The body, it's that body portion, that reaction to those images. So this deals both with the memory, the images and sensation of that trauma or the anxiety you encounter while you go through your day. And then it also deals with the future, how you want it to be. How we ask frequently, how would getting rid of this image or this problem or this trauma help you in your future? So it combines so many therapies. It combines some Gestalt and narrative and CBT and sensation therapies that are becoming popular.
Yeah.
It's one of many, but it's very direct and very quick. So 2 to 6 sessions are typical. At most about 10 if it's very complex, many years and years. But even after a couple of sessions, people notice a huge relief and start sleeping or having less pain, kind of as a result of dealing with what's stored up.
Yeah, and it's incredible because you're so right. I mean, I love that book, The Body Keeps the Score, because every time you go through a trauma, you store it in your body. And one of the key things that you asked me, and I always ask clients too, is where do you feel it in your body? Because we don't realize our body has different sensations, and you carry things in different parts of your body. And it's an indication of what is going on. And your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's fake, or if it's happened or if it's happening. So just thinking about something, as we think about stuff, we see those pictures and all those feelings come rushing in, but your brain doesn't realize it's not right now. It's something that may have happened already, but that's where you're stuck. And, every time you think about it, you're stuck. So we help get people unstuck by dealing with it. And it was beautiful the way you walked me through. I thought I was through something. I thought I had it down pat to one thing. It's like, oh, wait a minute. There's something still there a little bit. My throat showed up. So I was like, okay. I didn't realize there was
amazing.
still
It gets to the roots.
Yeah, because I noticed at that time, because you asked me, was I feeling tense? And I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. And like, no, you're like, your faces doesn't show that. And
you're used to dismissing those minor sensations, maybe those minor sensations, because the big ones show up.
Yeah. And I didn't notice until you said it, when you said, well, your face, I can see in your face. And then I noticed, I noticed I felt tense right across my eyebrows. And then once I zeroed in on that, then I noticed my jaw was tense as
Yeah.
well. So I was like, oh, okay. I never paid attention to that before. Like you said, you get used to just the big things and you don't pay attention, but all those little things, those little nuances, that tightness in my chest that I felt, butterfly, it's just, you really zone into your body. And not only does your body keep the score, your body is the blueprint. It has the pathway out if you just pay attention to it, and I love the way our session went and how you went in and just zoom, 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 and brought my awareness to it. It was really incredible. So
Yeah, it is incredible. It's a very powerful protocol, but there's thousands of people doing this therapy in Canada and America. So that website is going to be key to people all over our countries, North America, finding help where they are. I don't want everybody to email me.
website, your website.
No, the ART well, if you haven't put it up there, arttherapyinternational.org.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I see that now. If I didn't see that ahead of time when I printed this out, or I would have given it to Lady J. So it's ART Therapy International. The whole word is spelled out. .org is where you can go for a lot of information.
Yeah. So that foundation, ART International, went to the creator and said, we want to help you train more therapists. And Chris T. Sullivan was one of the restaurateurs that opened a lot of chains. I can't remember which group of chains. And that's right. It's the Chris Sullivan Foundation. Anyway, he had a friend who was literally credits saving his life with ART. And Chris Sullivan said, hey, I'm going to fund this, spreading this with my foundation. So the creator, Lainey Rosenzweig, she has, she's still in practice up in Connecticut, by the way. But she wanted something more directive than she was doing EMDR. And she came up with this protocol that is just, it's God-given. I don't know how else to say it. Anyway, it walks you through some tough stuff, and then it walks you through some really good resolution and how you want to go forward in a positive way. So it's really beautiful healing. But I definitely think everyone can use a little ART in their life. I mean, it can be, I have a list of things I've done, different kinds of issues, from trauma and anxiety, depression, phobias, panic, OCD. Phobias are really easy. But also just things like psychogenic seizures and pain and lots of grief. So I'll have months where I do animal deaths, and those are a big one for people because of their emotional. So it's pretty great.
That's amazing. And one thing I loved about the session is, in that one session, I love the way that it was formatted, because you started off and we hit some hard stuff, but we ended positively. So I like that, because this is different from typical counseling, because you're not sitting there asking a bunch of questions. You're just working with what comes up, and but you don't leave it there, and you go into creating a positive scene. I learned that word, scene, versus what you see now. And so in even one session, you will experience unstuckedness. I just made up a word. Unstuckedness, or you'll experience something in the terms of resolution, because you're definitely not going to be the same after even just one session, which is what I think is so incredible about it. And so Yeah, I want everybody to know.
And what you hit on there was that word. Oh, sorry.
No, you go.
The scene, when we talk about that, the thing that a lot of people love about this is they've had to retell their stories a billion times and they've tried a billion things. So they come in skeptical, but they also come in going, I don't want to tell my story another time. Well, they get to do it in their head.
Yeah.
And narrate it in their head. And I don't have to necessarily, as a therapist, hear it.
Right.
So I don't have a lot of secondary trauma. And then I get to see them leaving positive. So I love this therapy as a therapist who's helping people, but not having to take on the images that they're going through in their brain. So it works for skeptics. I definitely get a lot of clients that they're like, I've tried everything. What's one more thing? And there's no drugs involved. There's no medication. Let's try it. And then they're blown away. Yeah. But it's all, you do the work in your mind. So therefore, the more motivated you are, the better results you have. I can't do the work for you. And it's not a lot of endless talking, which certain clients love this.
Yeah. And just the way that you guided me, because there was times like when you were asking me to focus on a certain thing, my mind started wandering and you were like, well, maybe you'll picture this or maybe you'll picture that. And that just helped me narrow down. That helped me quiet down some of the noise and the images that I didn't realize were still there. Because I mean, I have it together. So I thought, I thought I was pretty doggone good before I sat down and talked with you. But
it's funny. We all have
residue things. Yeah, those residue things that came up and I did not think about for years until, and what I loved about it is I didn't have to talk, like you said, because as I thought about it, the image came up. And that's what happens. And then we try to describe the image and we get caught up in our words and then we start focusing on our words. So I liked that you kept me right there in just the image because I'm a visual person. So I see pictures a whole lot better than I explain things. And it was incredible. It was incredible.
Yeah, it's a great tool. And I actually can teach just the eye movements and for sensations and calming down your nervous. This works with anything related to the nervous system. So think of pain is related to nerves, your response to stressors, sleep. I use this almost daily to get back to sleep with my eyes closed. My eyes go until I go to sleep. That's where I think counting sheep came in. Anyway. And
it is relaxing watching that ball. It does relax. Never would have thought. At first, hey, what is this? I'm like, and I was like, okay, wait. And it actually does. You get into this zone and it just relaxes you, which was really cool.
That's the alpha state. Now, I don't know if you've ever, alpha wave is that relaxed. And so if you're talking
alpha, beta, theta, is that what different types of brain?
So alpha is awake but calm, parasympathetic state where your digestion's working, you're chill, you're comfortable, there's no threat. So a lot of us live life in a little tense and a little keyed up, and we don't even realize it because we're used to it, right? I have so many people come in and they minimize, well, that's always that painful, or I've always got a crick in my neck, or numb is their normal. When numb is not normal, by the way.
Right.
It is a sensation.
Yeah.
So it's great. I can teach non-professionals how to do this as a tool for calming down. And I can't tell you how many airplanes or airports I've been in or just anywhere where I see someone with a panic attack. And if I can get their buy-in to follow my hand, I'm going, stay with me, breathe, hear my voice. And their panic attack is done in 2 minutes or less. And it's great.
That's incredible.
And it's not we get the questions like, is it hypnosis? Is it this? Is it that? you're in control the whole time. You're awake the whole time. It's just what you're working on in your brain. Even if I give you suggestions or examples, your brain will say, that doesn't work for me. I'm going to go with this.
Yeah.
So
That
just give
happened
you a guide.
with me. You said, maybe you'll picture a spirit. So I was like, no, it wasn't it. It was, I wanted it to be. I tried, but I was like, but it was like my brain kicked it out. I was like, no. It ended up being, a squirrel, and I was like, where the heck did the squirrel come? It's just the image that came up. I wanted it to be this beautiful angel that I pictured coming in. It was just, what the crap? Where did a squirrel come from? But but it was.
If I wrote in my notes how crazy things are, you would laugh. Like I did a session. They did a session for me in one of the trainings, and my one of my alter ego lying, parts was Brick from Anchorman. I love Lamp because he's so dumb. So you could not write these in typical notes, right. But whatever helps people. If I know something about what they like cartoons or Marvel characters, I'm like, you can use a force field. This is a good part to be creative. Right. So the end part is very creative. And even my non-creative types, I'm like, what would practically help you if you can imagine something helping you? So they come up with something. Everybody has an idea.
So cool. Yeah, there's a spot for everybody. That is cool.
Yeah.
Well, we already got to take our second break. Already, we're winding down. I mean, I told you it's going to fly by. We will be right back. We're talking to Alyson, all things ART therapy and how to get unstuck from trauma and a whole bunch more. We'll be right back after these commercials.
Would you like to advertise your brand, product, service, or event to hundreds of potential clients and guests with direct links to inquire and shop immediately? Well, advertise with Ego Magazine, the hottest bi-monthly digital interactive magazine around. Your ad will include clickable buttons that lead directly to your service or product for the interactive experience. Half-page ads are only $15 and full-page ads are only $25. Did we mention that your ad runs for 60 days? Advertise with us. Ego Magazine, a division of Ego Entertainment Network. Visit www.egoentertainmentnet.com. That's www.egoentertainmentnet.com and complete the form while you're there. We look forward to promoting you. Track Try Me by Arulo on Mixkit.com. If you're tired of hearing the same music and content every 5, 10, or 15 minutes on air, then check out JQLM Radio for the realest, rawest, and most relevant variety of music, talk shows, and more. Start your days with a little bit of gospel and gospel rap from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All of my life, I've never known you to fail. You deliver me. 'Cause all I seem to do is coming and breaking it down with that wicked style, man. We really be living it out, don't miss it.
Then get into some hot R&B.
Say baby, what you doing? Excited.
Some hip hop.
Falling in deep with the quicksand. Flag on my head, oh quick run. I was packing on the pound, got my
time and I heard that
a little bit of pop,
watermelon sugar, strawberries,
and some neo soul for the rest of the day. JQLM Radio, real, raw, and relevant.
holds my hand.
Hey there. If you can hear my voice, this is Pamela, host of Hospitality, here to remind you that Ego Entertainment Network has a lot for your business. Listen, honey, you need to get with it. Ego Entertainment offers various services, media coverage, red carpet services, promo interviews on air. They offer meet and greet services, honey, not to mention other event services. You want to get in gear. Eagle Entertainment is empowered greatness optimized. We're now booking and spots are going fast. Eagle serves the United States and all event types, honey. So if you are opening a business, having a store opening, a restaurant opening, and you want some coverage, Eagle Entertainment is the way to go. Call or text 317-886-0296 or go to eagleentertainmentnet.com.
All right, and we're back. And I also just want to throw out there too, if you want to be a guest on the show, or if you want to advertise, get commercials on the show, videos just like you've seen, go ahead and send me an email at mepoweredwithrhonda@gmail.com. And I'll give you all the information, how to advertise, how to sponsor, how to get on the show, and we will help to promote what you're doing as well. So we're back with Alyson. How do people reach you? Let's get your contact information in before we,
Sure.
What are all the ways that people can reach you?
Well, mainly right now by email, apertuis@liferenewalcounseling.org. And same webpage, liferenewalcounseling.org and /meet Alyson. And my information's on that page. I'm also on LinkedIn and Psychology Today. So I don't know if you'll share those links, but I can be found on the ART Therapy International page under, find a therapist. So wherever you are, you can go to the search Google for accelerated resolution therapy. If you do ART, you're going to wind up with
I found that out.
A whole lot of stuff.
Art, painting,
accelerated resolution, and really it helps accelerate healing. I have people who come in and they're like, I've done years of talk therapy, but I made more progress in these 3 sessions than those years. And I do say, you know what, those weren't lost. All that work, you informed what you wanted to work on in these sessions, but didn't it unstick those last bits? And they're like, yeah, that's what it is. Because what I hear again and again is, I can think that all day long, but this reaction sabotages what I know to be true. Mm-hmm. So they can think better, or they can know that they want to think better. But if your body's screaming you're in danger, that doesn't do a lot of good, right?
Right. That's that's so true. And what I'll do is when we're done with the broadcast is I'll put all your links underneath, and so that way, as when they're watching the replay of this show, and make sure you guys share this, because I'm telling you, trust me, she covered a lot more information than you think. You're gonna want to listen to this a couple of times and share it with everybody, because especially with people that may or may not think they're making progress, like you said, everything is necessary, but this may just be that thing that gets you over and really helps you break through. And so that's why I wanted to feature you, because it's a different type of therapy, and it's something that is quick. It doesn't take a long time. It doesn't take a lot of commitment, and you're not going to be in therapy for months and months and months, and you hit it and quit it, and then come back again when something else is there and deal with that and keep it moving. And it's good. It's practical, and it fits today's lifestyle. It really does.
It does. And I think that's why I really like it. Because I'm a no nonsense. I don't want to sit around and talk endlessly about something. I want to do something about it.
Right.
And this was perfect for me, and I didn't even realize it when I got into it. I just saw the first time I saw the results of accelerated resolution was on a retreat where somebody had a phobia of dogs because they were bitten, and they were able to go on a boardwalk with dogs all around, pet a German Shepherd, and then walk away, and the dog started barking at another dog, and that person was like, oh, they're just barking at each other. Oh, wow. And so nonchalant, like nothing got to this person. And I was like, what just happened. This
Right.
person was phobic,
Mm-hmm.
panicked the day before, and I was like, something just flipped there.
That's
So they had worked on their that childhood dog biting incident with ART, and it changed not only the images from the past, but also being able to freely live without that hindrance, that encumbrance. So you can go down and have a good time with your friends instead of avoiding dogs that are everywhere, right? But it's definitely the more I've searched back and forth to make sure that everything's in line with faith and Christianity, and I have never found anything that makes me go, "Oh, that's a little weird." It definitely goes along with take off every hindrance so that you can run the race. Think on these things, not those things. We
Yep.
want to think about pure and lovely, and we don't want that bitter root to take hold. And if we can cut that bitter root and leave it and let it die behind us, and we can run free from that prison, you've been set free if you
Yep.
know Jesus.
Yeah.
And if there's something you're dragging with you, let's drop it.
Right. And you know what I love? I love that you're bringing that up because, I'm a Christian as well. And, but, as we believe, I mean, God is and suddenly God. When he touches you, you're here. When you believe, it's boom. It doesn't have to be drawn out. It's the moment you believe, the moment you activate, the moment you drop it, leave it, change that story. It's like boom. It's free. I even do something that I call breakthrough sessions where I call it creating a possibility. You can either stand in what you came through, or you can get to this point and now let's create a new possibility. What do you want to see? What do you want to go for? And go from this moment on. And it all works together. But people a lot of times are so used to having their chaos. They're used to their story. They don't know who they are outside of their story. Some people are not ready to put their trauma down. Some people are not ready to go forward because this is all they know. But for those that are ready, truly ready, you seriously can instantaneously, boom, be done with it just by learning the techniques that Alyson is talking about. And you helped me unlock something that I've been struggling with for a minute, and that I thought I was good with, and just that new vision, that new story, and I'm the one that does story. It's like, so we're always in the state of, it's always good to be learning, to be open to, because you never get to the point where you've arrived. You can never, and I'm grateful that I have my people that I can go to. Like you're one of those people, because when you help other people, you can't go to everybody. You got to go to somebody a little bit, I don't want to say higher, but I need to have somebody that I can go to too, because I got stuff that I got to deal with that I got to be good so I can be good for my clients.
Right. Yeah, ethically you have to. I mean, you
Right.
got to take care of your stuff, or you're going to impact others in a negative way. But I don't want people. I want people to not give up, because there's always something different. Even if this, if you try it and it's not what you thought, or it's not what you needed. I can't even imagine that, by the way. But don't stop trying. Right.
Right.
There's something that will come along if it hasn't already. This is only 12 years old. So I think maybe it's 14. But we're just starting to get we have the SAMHSA cleared it as a, a trusted gold standard kind of therapy. But we're still getting that research piling up finally that says, no kidding, consistent, long-lasting results. But I see the evidence every day. I just don't have the scientific proof. But if you want to try it and make yourself,
I can say just from being part of it that it did help me with that. So I mean, that's hands down. So I can speak from my experience of you taking me through that. That was wonderful. It really was. Well, we are about to wind down. We only got a couple minutes left, but before we go, is there any last minute words, like a minute, that you would like to say to somebody who's struggling or maybe not sure what to do, or who may want to try this therapy? Like, what would you say to that person?
Well, first of all, I forgot one of the other links. It's ART Works Now. That's the other site that's really helpful. But if you're struggling with anything from your past or on a consistent basis right now, that's keeping you from having the life that you know you want, or that you don't even know what that might look like, but you're willing to kind of see. I have people who can't imagine living without anxiety or being comfortable in social situations. ART can transform and layer off the negative. It even helps with grief being so heavy, maybe grief being lighter. I've actually done some sessions on COVID long haul too, and so has the creator has came up with a COVID protocol. You would be surprised the protocols we have. I have a stroke and dyslexia one, so so anything that happens in your brain or your nervous system, whether it's just that reaction or the past or the current struggles, there's a possibility that an ART session or 3 or 5 will help you a great deal. So find someone near you or in your state that does telehealth, and you will feel different because of it. But don't give up trying different things. I've had people really in dark places come and lift that heavy blanket, or we help them get a little bit up from the pit. So it really is a cool miracle that I think is, other than God healing us with we believe, this is the other thing I know without a doubt helps you overcome. So don't give up.
Awesome. And Alyson does take people virtually, because we did our session virtually. So yeah, you can even reach out to her and or she can refer you, or like you said, find somebody in your area. Well, thank you, Alyson, for coming
Thank
on tonight as
you.
part of Women's History Month, because you are creating history and you're helping other people recreate theirs. And I'm just so honored
Yes.
to have you on tonight, and for the session that we did the other day. Thank you. I'm very, very grateful, and it was powerful. It was powerful. Well, next,
Recreate the future. Yeah.
yep, that's awesome.
Thank you
Next
so
week,
much.
you're so welcome. Next week, we are finishing off Women's History Month with my friend. Her name is Sasha Johnson, and boy, this woman is doing all kinds of stuff, and she is a counselor as well. She's a radio talk show host, and she's my friend, and we've got a lot in common as well. So she is going to be closing us out next month for Women's History Month. So join us again next week with Sasha Johnson. And remember that, everything that you need is already inside of you. If you want to be a guest on Me Powered with Rhonda, like I said earlier, send me an email to mepoweredwithrhonda@gmail.com to be a guest, to advertise, to sponsor. We've got all kinds of things. I've got an event coming up, guys, May 7th. Next week, I will have the flyer. It's huge. Day before Mother's Day. Mark your calendars. I'm telling you, you're going to want to be a part of this. So I'm excited. Thank you, Alyson. Thank you, everybody. Please
Thank
share
you.
this video because somebody needs this. Everybody have a fantastic night. Bye-bye.
Bye.